Connie Gorrell, could you share with us, please?
I can share. My birthday is April 17th, and my Aries sister said that I was in change, so I have problems with podiums. So I'm going to switch over. My name is Connie Gorrell, and I am actually a columnist last year for Civil Magazine. And Andrea, to tag on to something you said, one of my articles I did say, I am not my story. I choose to rewrite my story. So with that having been said, today I would like to take you on a journey, and I'm going to ask your permission to go with me. Yes? Yes? It's a bike ride. It's a bike ride. I live in Indiana. My house was built in 1889. It always needs work, but it's out in the country, surrounded by cornfields and bean fields, and just as far as the eye can see, wide open spaces, and I love that. I find a lot of solitude there. But last summer I decided I need to get some stuff off my rear end, and I needed to start riding my bike. Well, I did start riding my bike, but nothing really came off the rear end, so that's another story. At any rate, I love this bike ride, and I'm telling you this for a reason. When I would pull out of my driveway and I would turn left, and I would go down to the first country crossroad, and then I would turn around and come back. If I was being a good girl, I would keep on going to the next crossroad, or if I was out of time, and a lot of times I was a bad girl and I stopped at the house because I couldn't breathe anymore. But I found out that I was being pulled to the other end of our road, and at the end of the road was a farm access road. And so I'd cross this little crossroad and I would go to this farm access road. And it was magnificent to me. I was really drawn to this because even though there were cornfields and wheat fields on both sides, they didn't mow the grass in front of the rows. And in those, between the rows of corn and beans and the road were wildflowers that just bloomed like crazy. And there were bumblebees and butterflies and just a spectral display that I just so much enjoyed every day. And I realized that when I got to that part of the road, I wasn't hyperventilating anymore because I really looked forward to it and I enjoyed it. So one day I was forcing myself, I got down the road and I realized they had mowed one side of that road. And I was so disappointed. I felt my heart got heavy because I really look forward to that. I want to see these wildflowers. I want to see the butterflies and all the things that go along with it. So I switched my gaze to the other side of the road, and there it was in full bloom. And so I choose to look over there and I see the full bloom. Well, as I continued my ride, I realized something. I thought, I'm really heavy-hearted that this is mowed down, but it's okay. I know they'll be back. I know they'll fight their way back again. They always do. So as I turned around and headed for home, something dawned on me. I'm a wildflower. I've been mowed down a few times, but I fought my way back. How about you? A few times? Okay. Hang on, I forgot to give a note. Would you? My Aries sister, please pass those. I need 20 volunteers, please.
Oh. Volunteers in the chair?
Volunteers in the chair.
I'll be.
Would you look? I have volunteers. A paper.
Yes.
It might even spell out. Okay, for my volunteers, just hang on to your little pink balloon. You're going to see what this is all about in just a second. Is that it? No. Okay, so as I was saying, I started thinking more about these little wildflowers, and it dawned on me, wildflowers aren't planted. They're not put there on purpose. They're not pruned, pampered, fertilized in any special way. We don't put ribbons on them and send them on special occasions and milestones. I've lost a thing I wanted to give you. Okay, so at any rate, well, I know of several of us that feel the same way. We are unadorned. We're not pampered necessarily. And we go through life and we get mowed down, but we get back up again and we go. And that's pretty much how I feel. I'm going to tell you why. So who's in here a wildflower with me? Everybody. Well, here's a little bit of my story and why I feel like I'm a wildflower. My husband and I have been married 19 and a half years, and we had 4 sons together. Not together, I brought 2, he brought 2 from previous marriages. Hang on a second. Drink. Okay. One Thanksgiving morning, 1999, I'm getting...
It's okay.
No, it's okay. I don't tell the story often, so it's okay. Just bear with me.
We're with you.
I know you are. I feel the love. In 1999, on Thanksgiving morning, a police officer at our door. He asked, "Are you the parents of Nicholas?" "Yes, we are. It's my husband's youngest son." And Nicholas had been in a car accident, and he did not survive the car accident. So when we got home that night, we pretty much just looked at each other as if, what are we going to do? How do you do this? How do you do that? And we decided right then that we were going to make a vow. And that vow to each other was, we're going to stay together through this no matter what. So, this is a tough story. You're going to find out why. At any rate, so this vow that we made to each other was that we had lost too much already, and to lose each other now was not going to be an option. And that's why we stuck with this little vow. 2 years later, we get another phone call. Actually, it's my son. My oldest son had passed away. My youngest son calls and says, "Mom, please sit down." So I heard this panic in his voice, and I think, oh no, what now? I hate these phone calls that come in the middle of the night or at early morning times, and that's what this was. So he says to me, "Robbie's dead." And my oldest son had been found deceased in his home. About 2 weeks later was 9/11. And I'm on the phone with my youngest son at that point in time, and we watched together as the towers fell. And that was, as we know, just a tragic time for our nation and ourselves, but we watched it together. About 2 weeks after that, I got a phone call, and my youngest son had been found dead too. So that's where I'm saying about being mowed down a time or 2 or 3. And so at that point, we really had to kind of reevaluate what we were doing with our life and our time. And about 2 years after that, or a few years after that, my husband had checked on his oldest son, who was the only son that survived long enough to have a child and give us a granddaughter. But he had had some diabetic problems, and his pump had malfunctioned, and my husband found him deceased as well. So that's the hard part. I can get past it now, but that's the hard part. When you're faced with something like that, you really have to question your faith. And that's why I don't feel like I wear a badge of grief or anything along those lines. But when I did do some really heavy thinking and some heavy questioning, I never asked why, because there's no answer that God or anybody else can give me that will ever satisfy me in that way. So and people have asked me, how do you do that? How do you stand at the graves of 4 beautiful young men and still hold your head up? I didn't for a while. I didn't hold my head up for a while. And there's just that point in time where you step back off the planet and you say, okay, I need to take a break. And I did do that, and thank God for my husband, because he's strong, and I think men handle things differently anyway, and he wanted to go to work, so he went to work, and I was happy with that. But I found out that I felt I always had to be the strong one. I always had to be the strong one. I'm the female, I'm the woman, I keep things running in the household, and I had to be the strong one. And I also realized that when I cried, it killed my husband. So I couldn't grieve in front of him because it killed him. And I love him and he loves me. And, you don't want to have that pain with somebody that you love. And even though I had the pain, I didn't want to see that pain on him. And he's an amazing man. So what I ended up doing, I resorted to lawn mowing. Thank you. I love to mow the lawn, as I said. We live out in the country. We have about 2.5 acres, I think, that we mow. And I love to do that in the summertime and go out back and forth and sing songs and, try to drown out the motor, which hopefully I don't do. So, but what I had started doing was I realized that when in the summertime, if I really had one of those days and I had to just let go from my heart and I had to cry, I got on the lawnmower and started mowing the lawn. And I would cry and wail and cry and wail and mow. Well, one day, this kind of changed everything for me. One day I was mowing back and forth, and I'd gotten close to the road. And there was a car coming, and I'm wailing my eyes out. I didn't even notice the car. So, and I have my sunglasses on, but I'm really crying this one. And this car approached me as I'm along the road. And the car kind of slowed down. And the first thing I wanted to do was wave my fist in the air and say, "Bub, what are you staring at?" And then I realized I better sit my candy ass down because I'm not going to fight with anybody right today. But the woman looked so funny at the man, and then it dawned on me what she said. "Oh, honey, look at that poor deer, how badly she hates to mow." And I felt that she said that. And so I'm thinking, my day lawn mowing, get out of my bed. But then it hit me what she said. And I started laughing so hard that I fell off the lawnmower. And happily, it's one of those when you fall off, it stops. So I fell off the lawnmower. I did. And I laid there. And then all of a sudden, it was as if something changed. I'm laying in the grass. I'm looking at the clouds, which I'm an outdoor girl anyway, but I felt a sense of change happen at that point. I heard a very soft voice say to me, "Connie, come back and be okay. You've got to live for your husband. You've got to go on. You've got things to accomplish in this world." Because I had really struggled at that point. But then it's this loving impression came to me and said, "You have to find a way to love your sons more in depth than you ever thought possible in life." And I realized that that was true. And how hard that was going to be, I don't know. But I thought back to that vow that Brent and I had made to each other, that to lose each other was not going to be an option. So that was never an option. I never wavered. But I also knew then that I had to find the faith to go forward. And in finding that faith, what does that look like, and what do I do, and where do I go? And so you reinvent yourself and you let go of that story that does not define you. And people who meet me on the street have no idea about my story. And I don't wear it like a badge of honor or dishonor or any of those other kinds of honors. But what I did realize, though, was there has to be a way to find a way to live your life to the fullest. You make a vow. You honor your vows, you find the faith, and then you live your life to the fullest. And after that, I really started to find a good way of getting through things by helping other women, which is my passion, and I love to do that. So I want to, actually, what I started doing was helping myself with affirmations. Those with you with balloons, would you please pick them up? I have a list of affirmations, but I'll make them up. Okay, when I say a positive affirmation, please blow into your balloon. Give it a good, healthy blow. Okay, I am perfect. And hold on to it. Okay. I have everything I need. Trying to think of my list here. I couldn't find it. I cherish my home and my family. Okay. I will cherish every day of my life. Okay. Now, what happens when we get into bad self-talk? I'm going to give you some negative affirmations. No, that's not even an affirmation. That's a self-limiting talk, we'll call it that. I want you to squeeze your balloon and let a little bit of air out when I tell you a bad self-thought. I can't do it. There's not enough. I don't know how. I'm too fat. I can't be that. Is yours working? That's the sound I hear when I do negative self-talk. And that's what I want you to take away from this. When you are having any kind of doubt, trust me, I know. If you, and this is my ending message, if you don't die happy, you will live to regret it. You have this life, and you have to find a way, and I promise you, you're stronger than you think. And I can also promise you that if in the split seconds when my son was dialing that phone to tell me to sit down, if I had known then what was coming in the following weeks, actually weeks, and then into the distant years, I don't know if I could have made it, but I didn't have to try because I know I'm strong, and we're all strong.
Yes.
And I guess that sounds so repetitious, but please understand, you can do anything you want to do. I rose up from a very humble place to say, that's not going to define me. You're not taking me out this way.
Yes.
Make a vow,
Yes.
find the faith, and live your life, please.
Very-